Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. How are you doing, Who Dat Nation? I am your host, Kevin Reed, and let me start off by saying Merry Christmas to everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed their holiday season this year, whether you're planning on traveling, seeing family, or just staying at home and enjoying your eggnog and opening up gifts and whatever. I wish you a Merry Christmas. But not everybody is going to have a Merry Christmas, namely the New Orleans Saints. This week 16 is in the books, and in a must-have win, the New Orleans Saints fall to the Los Angeles Rams by the score of 30-22. Now, if you didn't watch this game and you see that score, you're like, man, this was a pretty tight contest. No, it wasn't. No, no, it was not. The Saints, I'm so tired of watching this team underachieve week by week. And I predicted that the Saints would lose this game. I was kind of on the fence with it, but ultimately I went with my head over my heart, and I said that the Rams would win, but I thought it would be more of a actual game. This was not a game. This was an embarrassment. Honestly, man, on national TV for the world can see, the Saints now fall to 7-8. The Rams move up to 8-7, and this puts a lot of pressure going forward on the Saints. Now they're in desperate need of help. They will need Tampa to lose, Atlanta to lose, and a partridge in a pear tree. It's just a lot of things they're going to need to happen in order to have a chance at a playoff berth. They don't need to go to the playoffs. They do not need, not this team. This team was not ready to play. They came out in this game and they just looked flat. There was no energy. There was no swag. There was no game plan. They were just out there. They clearly were not prepared. And this falls on the head of Dennis Allen, the head coach. And, after all the excitement and hope that we conjured up, the last 2 weeks when the Saints looked like, just looked like they got it together, reality set in. They played a real team. They played a team that knew they needed to win, and they played like they needed to win. Unlike our team, who just went out there, if we win, we win. We don't. They just played stupid, and it was stupid decisions made across the board by this coach. But just think, in the first half, going for it on fourth down twice. I don't have a problem with you being aggressive and going for it on fourth down. But there's a little thing called situational football that I would say 99.9% of all who coach or played football know what that is. It's knowing where you at, knowing the situation. It's just common sense in football terms. Why would you go for it on 4th and 5 at the 50-yard line twice and don't convert? You don't convert, and you give the Rams a short field. Obviously, they can move the ball. Their opening drive was a 95-yard drive, and they just went down the field like it was nothing. And Saints got lucky in a sense later on in the game. I say in the second quarter, I should say. Sean McVay, they sputtered on offense. Cooper Kupp dropped some crucial third downs, and they had to settle for field goals. They missed a field goal. It kept the Saints lingering around. It kept them in the game, and sure enough, the Saints were able to get close. It was 10-7 at one point. Saints get the ball back under 2 minutes in the game, in the half, I should say, and had a chance to either draw closer or even tie the game. Or here's a thought: just going to halftime with this 3-point deficit, because obviously you played your worst ball. Rams were playing their best ball, and it was a 3-point game. Going to halftime, recalibrate, and come back out firing on all cylinders. Nope, not the Saints. We give the ball right back, and they go and score before halftime, and they get the ball back at the beginning of the second half. And at that point, I just gave up. I gave up. I tried, and it just came to me in an epiphany. I like, you know what? I can't do this. I honestly, I cannot take this no more. Dennis Allen, the Mickey Loomis, who I guess you could say cradles this dude. I can't take it no more. If this is what they're going to give us going forward, I'm not watching no more Saints football. Next season, I'm not watching it. If Dennis Allen returns, I'm not watching. That's it. I can't do it. This is the most inconsistent football team I have ever watched in my life. And I'm not talking just Saints, NFL, NBA, NHL, I don't care, pickleball, whatever. This is the most inconsistent team I have ever seen. This was unbelievable. Dennis Allen once again gets out coached. Once again, Derek Carr gets outperformed. You know, the defense looks like they didn't even want to be there. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. This is a game you had to have, people. This was in essence a playoff game, and they came out flat, no fire. Didn't care. I mean, Rams, decent team. All due respect. They earned this victory. They deserved to win. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Rams. But my God, you can't sit here and tell me that the Rams are that much better than the Saints. Once again, if you're just looking at the score, it was a one possession game, Kevin. Why are you tripping? That was garbage time points. That was garbage time points. This game was, it could have been worse. It should have been worse. The Rams took their foot off the gas. But whatever. Look, it's late. It's late. My blood pressure high, and I'm ready to go to bed. So let's go through this game. Unfortunately, coming off a short week, a long flight, and a highly effective Los Angeles Rams offense was too much for the New Orleans Saints as they lose 30-22 on Thursday Night Football in Los Angeles. The loss ended the Saints' 2-game win streak and dropped them to 7-8 on the season. The Rams improved to 8-7 and strengthened their chances to getting a wild card playoff spot. The Saints will end the season with 2 critical games, both division foes. We have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we play on New Year's Eve, and we have to go to Tampa, and we finish at home against the Atlanta Falcons. That game will either be on January the 6th or the 7th. That game probably will be flexed. I don't know why, but whatever. The Buccaneers will host the Jacksonville Jaguars this Sunday. In Atlanta, will play the Indianapolis Colts this Saturday. And the Rams, who led 17-7 at halftime and added 13 more points in the second half, leading the Saints 30-7 before the Saints rallied late with some, like I said, garbage points. Quarterback Matthew Stafford, he was 24 of 34 for 328 yards with 2 touchdowns. Wide receiver Nakuka was his top target with 9 receptions for 164 yards and a touchdown. uh, Derek Carr. Derek Carr was 27 of 40 for 319 yards and 3 touchdowns and an interception. Wide receiver Chris Olave, who was returning this week after missing last week with an ankle injury, he had 9 receptions for 123 yards. He passed 1,000 yards receiving for the second time in his career, which is poignant because this is his second season. But congratulations to Chris Olave. Running back Alvin Kamara had 9 catches, or 9 carries, I should say, for 19 yards. My God. Rashid Shaheed, he was the team, had the team's first touchdown with a 45-yard strike in the second quarter. Tight end Jawan Johnson added the second on a 5-yard touchdown reception. Rookie A.T. Perry, he had a 35-yard touchdown reception with 3 minutes and 53 seconds left in the game. Also, a 2-point conversion was converted by Chris Olave. The Saints defense, which didn't allow a touchdown in the last 2 games, only sacked Matthew Stafford 1 time and didn't force a turnover at all. I'm telling you, that defense looked pathetic out there today. They looked pathetic. it was horrible. I have there's no excuse. You know, offense didn't play great either, but that defense looked even worse. Let's go over the stats. Let's go through the box score here, beginning with passing. Derek Carr, I mentioned before, he was 27 for 40, 319 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He had a passer rating of 106.1. He was sacked twice today. Matthew Stafford, he was 24 of 34, 328 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a passer rating of 120.7. He was sacked once. Leading rusher today, New Orleans Saints leading rusher was Alvin Kamara, 9 carries for 19 yards. And I want to touch on this for a sec. Last week, I pretty much clowned the New York Giants for only giving the ball to Saquon Barkley 9 times. And I ragged on the coach, said he was stupid. Why would you only give your best player the ball 9 times? That is idiotic. Only to come around 4 days later and we do the exact same thing. That is crazy to me. 19 yards rushing from Alvin Kamara. For the Rams, their leading rusher was Kyren Williams. He had 22 carries for 104 yards and a touchdown. You see the difference? 22 carries from that young man. Leading receiver for the New Orleans Saints was Chris Olave, 9 catches for 123 yards. Leading receiver for the Rams is Nakua, 9 catches for 164 yards and a touchdown. That is crazy. It still blows my mind. I cannot believe that dude just demolished the Saints. He's good though. I was worried about him. He's good, but 164 yards good? Come on, bro. This is supposed to be the. Keep in mind, the Saints are 6th in the league. At least they were 6th in the league against pass. And this is what happens. This is what you get. Going over the team stats here, starting with the first down. Saints had 18 first downs, 16 by passing, 2 by rushing. For the Rams, 23 first downs, 18 by passing, 4 by rushing, and 1 by penalty. Third down efficiency, Saints were 5 for 11. The Rams were 4 for 12. Fourth down efficiency, Saints were 0 for 3 on fourth down. Rams went forward on fourth down 1 time and converted. Total plays, Saints ran 58 total plays. Rams ran 67 total yards. Saints had 339 yards today to the Rams 458. Total drives, it was dead even. Both teams had 10 drives apiece. Yards per play, Saints averaged 5.8 yards per play to the Rams 6.8. Passing yards, Saints had 304 passing yards to the Rams 325. Rushing yardage. Saints had 35 yards rushing today. 35 yards. Rams had 133. Red zone. Saints were perfect in the red zone. They were 1 for 1. Rams were 3 for 6. Penalties today, not too bad. It was relatively a clean game. Saints had 3 penalties for 20 yards. Rams had 3 penalties for 25 yards. Saints had 1 turnover, which was the Derek Carr interception. And time of possession, Saints had the ball 25 minutes and 42 seconds to the Rams 34 minutes and 18 seconds. This is probably the worst performance this season from the New Orleans Saints. At contrast to last week, I shouldn't even say last week, a couple of days ago, which was their best performance. But this just goes to show you how inconsistent this team is. Hashtag fire Dennis Allen. He has to go, people. He has to go. Derek Carr is not it either. Take him with you. This dude, I'm looking at Derek Carr. Derek Carr makes boneheaded throws. Now, when receivers are missing passes, and there was a couple of passes that were missed, that Olave third down play, big miss. Big miss. Even though it wasn't a perfectly thrown ball. And it wasn't. It was an ugly ball. But it hit your hands, sir. It hit your hands and it hit your helmet. And Chris Olave had an awesome game, but he had that one faux pas. And I think that helped change the game because you had to go for it on fourth. Well, you didn't have to, but you went for it on fourth and you didn't convert. And that turned into points for the Rams. It's just decisions like that. Stupid things like that. But Derek Carr, that interception, what was he looking at? What was he looking at? I saw nothing but blue jerseys. Now, Chris Olave was running underneath, wide open. He didn't throw it there. He tried to fit it in. Well, he didn't try to fit it in. It was short anyway. And it was, Juwan Johnson was like 5 yards ahead of it. I don't know. What was you? Derek Carr is not it. But he gets mad. He goes on his little tantrums. But as soon as he throws that pick, he's quiet as a church mouse, you know. He didn't want who's jumping down his throat, but you want to jump down everybody else's throat when they mess up or they allegedly mess up. Come on, man. You can't have it both ways. I can't deal with that. I can't do it. I cannot deal with that. You know, because I picture myself playing on the field with this dude. And I will punch him. I will straight up punch Derek Carr. Don't come at me. What can you tell me? You know, it's one thing if it was Drew Brees. Drew Brees had skins on the wall. Drew Brees was is going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame. I'll accept it from Drew Brees. But you know the difference between Derek Carr and Drew Brees? Drew Brees didn't do that. Even when players messed up, Drew Brees didn't do that. He would probably tell him something, but it was not that whiny stuff that this dude do. And look, man, he got to go. He got to go. This is just who he is. There is no coaching that can correct that. That's his personality. And so it's not going to work. It's not going to work with me. And it obviously is not working for the New Orleans Saints. Like I said, it's late. So let's get these grades. let's give these grades. And in case this is your first time listening to the Dome Patrol podcast, after every Saints game, I grade every unit of the New Orleans Saints, offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. I average it all out and give an overall grade for the New Orleans Saints performance tonight. Well, I can tell you now, they fail, but this was a this was just an embarrassment of a performance. I wanted to give it all F's, but I was being objective. I'm being real. And so starting with the offense gets a D plus, and they get a D plus due to the fact that Chris Olave went off. It was Derek Carr made some nice passes. Those touchdown throws he threw were excellent throws. Aside from that, nothing else was good. There was no crisp throws. You ever notice Derek Carr does not throw a wide receiver open? He doesn't throw the ball where your receiver can make a play after he catches it. You ever notice that? They either have to dig it, they have to go low to get it, it's or reach behind them to get it. They get a D plus. The defense, for the first time this season, defense gets an F. They get an F. They did nothing right today. Nothing. They couldn't stop a nosebleed today. Matthew Stafford didn't look that good on his Super Bowl run. This dude was just picking the Saints defense apart. And they couldn't respond. They had no response. They couldn't adjust to nothing they were doing. Now, granted, good job by Sean McVay, who schemed some really good plays, get his players open and confuse the Saints defense. But come on, man. Yeah, I'm looking at players running wide open. I'm looking at this Nakua boy wide open. Cooper Kupp was open on a lot of plays. He just didn't make the play. I don't think he's 100%. Cooper Kupp just did not look right. But the defense gets an F. They didn't get any pressure on their Matthew Stafford. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the pass. The only thing that stopped the Rams offense was the Rams offense. Saints had nothing to do with any of it. And so, yeah, they get an F. Special teams, they the only ones that can dance around happy today. They get an A. They did nothing wrong. We even got a block punt today. And so special teams gets an A. Coaching gets an F. They get an F because Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, Joe Woods, the Grinch, Santa Claus, Frosty the Snowman, nobody got these people ready to play. Nobody. And I was talking to my cousin during the game. He was like, well, man, he wasn't making an excuse. He was just bringing the point. It's a short week. Man, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it's a short week. It was a short week for the Rams too, but you couldn't tell, could you? That had nothing to do with it. What it was, they weren't prepared to play. They came out flat. They came out with no energy. And I got to give that to the coaches because nobody looked ready to play. It's like the clock struck 6 and they told them, oh, why y'all not dressed? The game starts in about an hour. Oh, man, I didn't know. I thought we had a few. That's how they looked when they ran out on the field. It was horrible. So with all of those grades compiled together, they average out overall for tonight's performance against the Rams. Saints gets a D plus, and that D stands for dead in the water. I don't see their season extending after week 18 or week 17, whatever. Week 18. I don't see it going anywhere, and honestly, I don't want it to go anywhere else. They need to lose. They don't deserve to go to the play. After seeing this tonight, do you think they deserve to go to the playoffs? No, indeed, no. No. They can't beat nobody. They play a real team, which the Rams are a real team, and they couldn't hold a jock strap. They looked out coached, out performed. No. Less talent, even though the Saints have more talent on their team than the Rams do. Rams have talented players. I'm not saying they don't, but the Saints have more talented players, and I could not tell tonight. Uh, there has to be a change. We cannot keep doing this every single year. When is enough? Enough with this team. Who gets this? Who gets the game ball and who has to sit in the corner? Well, initially I didn't want to give a game ball to anybody, but I got to keep the tradition going. So I will give it to somebody who really did earn it today. All jokes aside, and that is Chris Olave. Chris Olave had 9 catches for 123 yards today, and he crossed the 1,000 yards receiving mark. Yeah, even with him dropping that third down, and I would still champion the fact that that was not a great ball. That was a poorly thrown ball by Derek Carr. And so yeah, he gets the game ball today. He performed at a high level. Nobody else did. Nobody else. So who has to sit in the corner? Everybody. But if I only could fit one person, Dennis Allen. He has to sit in the corner. It has to stop. I mean, it has to stop. This dude is not it. He is not it. He seems like a good guy. Honestly, bro. I'm pretty sure I've said this multiple times on this show. He seems like a good guy. He is not a good coach. I'm sorry. Good defensive coordinator. He is not a good head coach. It's just not for you, bro. It's not for you. There's no reason this team should be 7-8 right now. 7-8 with a schedule that you had, with a roster that you compiled together. No reason whatsoever. And now you're in a position. You got to play the waiting game. You got to hope that Jacksonville beats Tampa. Got to hope that the Colts beat Atlanta. And you got to pray that you come out with a victory against both of those teams going forward. Because as it stands right now, the Saints have a 23% chance of making the playoffs. 23%. In case you don't know, that's not good. And so it doesn't look good for the New Orleans Saints as far as their postseason admirations are concerned. So once again, the New Orleans Saints lose to the Los Angeles Rams by the score of 30-22, bringing their record to 7-8 on the season. We'll see. We'll see. Next week, the Saints will travel to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Whatever. I have no emotion, man. I really don't. And this pains me, bro. I have never in my 44 years of being around the New Orleans Saints, watching them, cheering for them, crying, mad, frustrated. I've never felt this way before. I never felt numbness before. Don't care. That's scary. I'm to the point now I don't care. Like I said, if they bring back Dennis Allen next year, I'm not watching. That's something I've never done. And I'm not just saying this. I'm dead serious. I'm not watching. I can't do it. What more you need to see? This is what it is. This is the same thing from last year. This is the same thing from last season with this guy. The excuse was we didn't have a quarterback. Okay, you got a quarterback. Your quarterback. It's the same results. Everybody was hurt last year. Everybody is relatively healthy this year. It's the same results. Last year, we had a tougher schedule. This year, you had statistically the easiest schedule in the NFL. Same results. The only thing that is common here The common denominator here is Dennis Allen. What more you need to see? And I refuse to go through a third season with this guy as our head coach. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not. I'm not going through it no more. But before we get to all that, we still have 2 more games left in this year. As I said, next week, New Year's Eve to be exact, the New Orleans Saints will play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a division matchup. Will it be for something? I don't know. We'll see. But I'll be back to preview that game and see where we stand as far as a chance to win a division or get to the playoffs or whatever. We shall see. But once again, everybody, as I said to open up the show, Merry Christmas to everybody. I know that this stinks. This puts a damper on your evening, on your day, probably on your weekend leading up to Christmas. But hey, man, just throw it out your head. This ain't the day. This ain't the time for that. This ain't the season for that. This is the joyous time of the year. Don't let the Saints raise your blood pressure and put you in a bad mood for the holiday season. Enjoy, and I hope that everybody gets what they want. I hope whatever it is you want this year is under that tree. But I'll be speaking to you guys, Will, next week when we preview the Saints versus the Bucks. Until then, even though I'm in a Grinch mood, Scrooge, Ebenezer Scrooge mood right now, I'm still gonna be screaming Merry Christmas and who dat?